Hello, and welcome to another episode of WKH. It's your boy Edwin. I am here with my brother Franklin. We do not share the last name, so it doesn't matter, I guess,
How
right?
you guys doing today?
What's up? What's up? He's not used to being on the mic, by the way. This is something new to you, isn't it?
It's definitely new. But it's pretty cool to hear myself and speak to. But it's a pleasure to be in this podcast, especially, supporting my brother here. My name is Franklin. Obviously, if you guys don't know me, he's his little brother. Might not seem like it, but I am.
Right. That fucking part. It's something in the in the water, bro. Something in the there's something in this liquor looking at us. Why is there a bottle of liquor sitting in the middle of the table? One, it is my favorite liquor by far, Flor de Caña. It is from Nicaragua. It is sugarcane rum from the motherland. We love it. I
It's
like to
amazing.
mix it with Coke. He likes it in the rocks.
Yeah, I like it with water.
And a little
Romantic
bit
it with
dash of
nothing.
Right. So cheers to our very first to my very first guest. It's a drink. It's not a shot. You didn't have to bam. That's funny. It's how you know he's just 21. What we're actually going to be discussing today is the health aspect of living. So if you're now just tuning in to WKH, it stands for wealth, knowledge, humor. A part of wealth is your health.
That is
Right.
correct.
And Franklin has personally done a lot in the last, I want to say, 2 years, besides being a father. Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Also, being able to lose, and I'm going to leave that up to you because I don't know how many pounds you've lost. And my first question to you is, man, today's subject is going to typically focus on if we can be healthy on a budget, because I think that financial stuff, does come into play when it comes to being healthy. A lot of like nowadays we can say it's safe to say it's easier to go out to eat than it is to cook.
Yeah, I
you
could
know,
definitely agree, especially the economy.
right? Everything going on. I feel like it's easier to go out and get a burger than it is to make yourself some food. And then on another note, so I just really want to start off by asking you what made you want to go through that change where you started counting calories and you started focusing on your health.
Got you. It's a pretty good question to ask. I always wanted to be a healthy guy since I was as young as I can remember. I mean, typically most people that we look up to, most role models, especially male role models, we typically look at people who are masculine and, fit, very healthy and such. And that was usually mainly my main driver. And I feel like a lot of guys too as well, a lot of guys' main driver as well as women. So that was my main driver when I was young and I wanted to get fit. And I could say I was pretty decently fit at the time when I was in high school and such. But it definitely, eventually, once I found, my wife, Sally, and had a son, things kind of fell apart because
You started getting fat, dog.
Yeah.
You got fat, dog.
I lost my reasoning. And, a lot of people actually face this, especially when they get into relationships where, they get that relationship weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that healthy relationship way, right?
Yeah, exactly. Where you get comfortable. You get really comfortable in the relationship. And that's kind of what happened with me, where I kind of let myself go. I was really focused on work. During the time, I don't know if you guys know, but we were working, me and Edwin, together in a company named American Income Life. It was an insurance company.
Right.
And I dedicated a good portion of my time, if anything, majority of our time.
Yeah, 12 hours a fucking day.
12 hours a day into that. And so it was very hard for me to go to the gym, especially since I used to like going to the gym in the morning. So eventually a shift just kind of came into my mind. Like eventually I was tired of feeling uncomfortable. I felt myself going into public a lot, like feeling uncomfortable, not feeling comfortable in a shirt. Sometimes like clothing wouldn't fit. Sometimes I want to have the same confidence. And I was a salesman too. And at the time, you need confidence in sales. And
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. And I don't know, like I felt my confidence was definitely going down. And as well as me having a son, even though I'm young, I'm glad that I'm actually a young dad because I get to see my son grow up throughout his whole life.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be able to see his whole life. And, hopefully if nothing happens, I'm going to be here for a long time with him.
Right.
And I get to enjoy that. But that's only if I take care of myself. And that realization came through time, And eventually, like, I was always into fitness, but I kind of gave it up, basically. And so I came to a point where I found out a way in order to lose weight, where I could lose weight and be healthy and still be able to, enjoy the snacks and the foods that I love. especially since I lost a lot of motivation at the time when I was in high school. I was really grinding in the gym a lot.
Right.
I felt like I made a lot of progress, and then like I messed it up. I gained, for you guys that are watching, I was 250 pounds basically.
Damn,
was
you
pretty
were
big.
250 at one point.
Yeah, I was 250.
The fact that you were 250 at one point, I mean, you were chunky, and you could kind of tell that you were getting, because like us Nicas, and I said Nicas with a C, by the way. Us Nicaraguans, we tend to have like chunky faces, like just round,
Yeah,
overall round
that's definitely
faces.
true.
So when we get fat, we get like carved
Yeah.
in.
I think I was just blessed with height, so it's kind of like a discreet with,
You can hide it very well.
very well, exactly, because it's distributed throughout your body. But eventually they caught up to me. Everybody was telling me, I think that's the main driver too. Everybody kept telling me I was gaining weight. Everybody was like, man, you're getting fat. Like, look at you. Like, you were skinny and everything.
Now,
And
what do you say to people that? So I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's kind of like a negative reinforcement.
Yeah.
Right. And not a lot of people thrive on negative reinforcement. Some people, like myself, I'm not gonna lie. If you tell me I can't do something, you remember how it was with my ex. A big reason why I dated somebody like her was because a lot of people were like, you couldn't date her. No, there's no way. She's not into you. You're not her type. Like, everybody told me no, and I was like,
You want to prove everybody
no,
wrong.
exactly. Like, in the beginning, it was like, I want to prove everybody wrong. Like, I want to prove that I can do it, and then honestly to yourself too.
Yeah.
So, what do you say to people that can't take that, like that can't take that negative reinforcement?
That's like a double-edged sword, because it works for certain people. It may not work for certain people. It worked for me. Like, for me, it was an initial driver. It wasn't my whole driver for the whole time, because that fire only lasted for like 2 days.
Damn. Okay.
Eventually, after that, it's just discipline. But eventually, you do need like a little bit of fire to get, fire in your ass to get you out of bed. But after that, it's up to you to continue that momentum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would usually say, if you're the person that's really healthy and you're trying to help someone that is very unhealthy and you're trying to motivate them, I don't think, shaming them or doing something like that will typically work, because it could bring them down. It can work for some people, but I feel like you should just have that communication with them first. I feel like, the people
Build
that
a
really
rapport,
told me that.
build a foundation, a relationship, like
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You got to have a relationship with them, because the only people that ever told me that was just my family. Because ain't nobody going to disrespect me like that. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying if a random motherfucker told you, hey, you're getting fat, you'd be like, watch your mouth.
Exactly. I would have popped him in his mouth.
Right. So a lot of it comes down to gaining more confidence, right? And I'm not like, I used to go to the gym a lot when we were working together at AIL because of the community.
Yeah,
so you go by yourself. How do you find the motivation to just go by yourself?
Well, really, I think the motivation is really right there when you look at yourself in the mirror. Eventually, like, you're going to say enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? It's up to you when you're going to cross that line. Dang. Some people have let themselves go. And then sometimes I feel like really what it is that when you get to people who are around like 300, 400 upwards, they kind of just lose hope. They know they crossed the line, but they sometimes just lose hope because they feel like they can never get there again.
What do you say to people like that?
You can. You definitely can, but it's going to be a lot of hard work and dedication. And definitely you need a good support system. Personally, myself, I was lucky I have a good family. Like, they supported me. I've been doing this diet. Well, not diet, but like counting my calories for a year and a half. And, you guys been working around with it. Like, you guys always.
We're aware of it. But here's something that I'm going to point out, okay? Because obviously it goes both ways. With my podcast, the way I see it is, it's all about self-improvement, bettering yourself. It doesn't mean that people can't influence you. It doesn't mean that people can't help you get there, because the support system is it's like a foundation. It's important to grow.
Yeah.
But you took it upon yourself to say, hey, family, just so you guys know, I'm counting my calories. I can't drink tonight. So I'm not going to be like, yo, you want a shot? And usually if I do ask you for a shot like today, I literally had to call him and be like, yo, put away 200-300 calories so we could take a shot together, or a drink. So you kind of set that standard.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where the foundation of an actual relationship comes. Now, I know that this podcast isn't about the relationship aspect of things, but more on the health. But since you brought that up, I just wanted to kind of like give you your flowers, meaning that you did that yourself. If you set a standard, hey, y'all, I'm not smoking anymore. You want to stop smoking? Okay, don't offer me a cigarette. Don't offer me a joint. I'm not gonna smoke. I don't want to drink anymore. We've seen people go through that in our
Yeah.
family where they're like, yo, don't offer me a drink.
And we respect it.
And we respect it, which is up to us to be respectful about it, but it's up to them. It's up to you to set that standard for the people around you.
Yeah, that's
Don't
correct.
just be like, oh, guys, I'm not drinking. Oh my God, you're so bad. And then you fucking start drinking because peer pressure.
Yeah, I also want to say something too for anybody that's listening. Like, temptations are always going to be there. That's one thing. You can limit them. You can have people who support you, and it's definitely going to help. But just you can't go into this thinking like, oh, I'm not gonna have no temptation at all. Like, if you let anybody else know, because in the end of the day, like, peer pressure still exists.
Yeah.
Some people are gonna try to peer pressure to drink.
Yeah.
And I understand it because I mean, like,
It's like it's fun. It's
you
like,
wanna
yeah,
have
I
a
want
good
you to
time.
be involved of what we're doing.
Exactly. And I can understand that. But going back to, like, you know, why I started this, I kind of just gave up myself and I decided one day I'm gonna do this. And the way how I looked at it is I felt like I was close enough to really, like, I was gonna give up because I felt like it was too far to reach where I wanted to be. But I just told myself, you know what? I'm just gonna enjoy the journey. I'm gonna just count my calories, still eat what I do. I
Right.
ate the same diet.
One thing that you brought up, which you haven't brought up in this podcast, but I want you to bring it up, is because you and I have had this conversation separately. You did extensive research because you've done different kinds of diets throughout the, like, I know that, right, you count your calories. That's always been the thing. But
Yeah.
like, the kind of diets you've been doing kind of changed up until, by the way, the reason why I'm bringing this up is this motherfucker eats McDonald's. Okay. This kid is like eats McDonald's and it's all good. But you did that research to find a diet that works for you where you still get to eat McDonald's.
So when I first started with the research, you know, I found multiple diets. Since I was a kid, I think one of the first diets I started was intermittent fasting. I was seeing studies where it says that intermittent fasting, you know, you lose like a certain amount percentage of fat and it helps you lose more fat, and it can work. It's just more of a tool. It's just not the way how it's portrayed out to you. Like, it's just, they tell you like, oh, if you don't eat from 10 to this time, you won't gain weight. But that's not true, because if you end up eating a lot of food once your eating window
Right.
is, you could still gain
There's
weight.
like stipulations that come with the diet.
Correct. It's a tool though, and I can explain how that could be used as a tool in a little bit. But yeah, there's multiple diets. Like, I tried them all. Well, not all, but majority of them, and they're kind of all hard to stick to, because in the end of the day, like, when you see a lot of people think that they're on a hardcore diet. Like, they just eat rice, broccoli, and chicken, or eat the most
Yeah.
unseasoned meats,
Right.
and, you know, very
Right.
very untasty meals. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When I came to find out that it's all a science. It's just like finances. When you make money, you have to budget yourself. It's the same thing with your body. Your body burns a certain amount of energy every day to keep you alive.
Even if you just like work from home, sit down on your ass.
It doesn't matter. Even if you work from home, you know, even if you're like laid down, you know, even
Right.
people that are even like
we just naturally burn energy.
naturally, you burn energy all the time just to keep you alive, because you have to function. You know, you're a
Correct.
human,
Okay.
especially because we have a big brain that actually takes majority of our calories.
Really?
Fun fact. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not my
of it.
fat ass heart trying to do overtime, bro. Because I figured
Nah.
it was like my heart.
It's
so it's
really,
your brain.
It's really our brain. That's why a lot of animals are more muscular than us, because we use our body. I guess evolution was just use the calories more towards the brain. You know, we're more smart
Interesting.
than
Yeah.
strong.
Okay.
So yeah, learning that everybody burns a certain amount of energy a day, and these are like actual physical laws and science, and so the only way you can lose weight is if you're in a calorie deficit. You know, you eat less than what your body burns. So that's where we came out with the term calories. It was a scientist who came out to figure out how to calculate the amount of energy that your body burns, and that's where he came up with calories, because that's
Okay.
the energy that we use. So everybody has a certain amount of calories they burn. I'm gonna use 2,000 because that's typically the average. Let's say you eat 2,000 calories. I mean, you burn 2,000 calories. The way you would lose weight is you eat less than that. So let's say you could eat 500 calories less than 2,000. Over time, you'll be losing weight. 1 pound of fat equals to 3,500 calories. So if you eat 500 calories,
1 pound of fat.
yeah, it's 3,500.
But not protein. 1 pound of fat.
Yeah, 1 pound of fat, and 1 pound of fat, it's like this big.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
the difference, like back in high school where they used to bring like a pound of like, well, it was like rubber, but it was like a pound of muscle versus a pound of fat. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
it's more dense. It's kind of like the thing like where, you know, you ever heard the the same way. People say, oh, what weighs more, a pound of feathers or a pound of rocks?
Yeah, it's
They
the same
both weigh
weight.
the same
Yeah,
weight.
yeah.
But if you look at it, you're going to have more feathers than rocks. It's
Of
kind of the
course.
same way. It's like you're going to have more fat than muscle.
Then muscle.
Because
Okay.
it's more
Right,
dense.
right.
So,
A pound of
anyways,
fat is
it's
3,500 calories.
3,500 calories. When you're at a 500 calorie deficit for 7 days, that equals to 3,500 calories. That's why you could lose. That's one way you could lose 1 pound of fat.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
the best way to really lose fat, not really the best way, the only way to lose fat is to be in a calorie deficit. That's why some of these diets may work, because some diets are going to put you in a calorie deficit without you tracking your calories yourself. It's just because of the habits that you're doing.
Bro, you're bringing this up, and actually it was my job to bring this up, but you said it's like your finances, bro, and that blew my mind. If you're listening to this shit, write this down. Your health is like your wealth, and I brought that shit up in the beginning. So the fact that you're comparing it to money tells me if you're counting your, like, if you're budgeting, right? I've done about 6-7 spreadsheets for different individuals for their finances, my girlfriend included, myself included. Sometimes it blows their mind. Two things that always blow these people's minds is, one, savings is a bill.
Mm-hmm.
And if your savings is not a bill, you're not going to save. People always pay their bills first, and then they're like, oh, whatever's left goes to savings. No, motherfucker. How about you just set that to your bill, and then you save? You're like, oh, well, man, I got to pay $100 to my savings account. Yep. Every paycheck. And then the second thing that people find crazy is the fact that I go down to the dollar. You have to know yourself. If you know that you like to have cravings for like ice cream, or you have to have cravings to go out to dinner, whatever your craving is, like people like to go out for drinks, that needs to be on the budget. You know, I tell that to people. I'm like, I know I drink. This bottle is in the budget.
Yeah.
Right? I have allocated $25 a week, roughly about $100 a month, just from, like, I know it sounds like a lot of money, but really when you put it, like, that's including drinks to go out and drinks to, like, sometimes have at home.
Yeah.
If I know I'm going to go out and I go over my budget, that means, oh, well, Edwin can DoorDash on Wednesday.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So kind of like going back to what you're saying, I've seen days where you eat McDonald's. I've seen days where you're just eating fucking skinless chicken breasts.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that you're mentioning that, because just the same way how you set up, your bills to pay for the alcohol, it's the same way how I did my calories today to be able to drink this alcohol. You know what I'm saying? It's the same way. It's just, you have to just plan accordingly. You have to be responsible and be disciplined with yourself. One thing I will say is that you have to actually start building trust within yourself.
What do you mean by trust within yourself?
A lot of people, they don't have trust within themselves a lot, because over time they'll say, like, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to go on a diet, and then they don't. Or they do, but then they don't stick to it how they plan. You're kind of breaking that trust for yourself. And over time, like, when you look at it, it's like, well, that's why you don't believe in yourself. You haven't proven to yourself that you can do things.
I see what you're
saying. We are logical creatures. I mean, yeah, even, you can even argue.
Logically, I fucked up a couple of times. I'm going to continue to fuck up. Like,
yeah, you're going to think
we're doing the math in our heads. And because we've done such negative math, such negative movement, we're getting fat. We're getting uncomfortable. Like, we're getting comfortable. We're getting just stagnant. That you're right. The logic comes in, and it's like, logically, you suck. And you're not going to do it.
Yeah, definitely. You just have to build trust within yourself. And a lot of people, the way how they attack fat loss plans and weight loss plans and, diets and stuff, is that they go very hard straight into it. And that's a very easy way to just, fail. And not necessarily fail, because you don't really fail until you give up. But a lot of people end up, when they fail, they end up giving up because that they failed. You know what I'm saying? The best way to do it is you attack it very easy, over time. You have to be patient with yourself, because a lot of time you got to keep in mind that a lot of times the reason why us Americans in the Western world is very overweight is not because we just gain weight like this. It's just behavioral patterns that we have created over time.
Give me an example of that, of some of those patterns.
Behavior patterns, as in, like, for example, how much movement we do throughout the day.
Yeah, we do less of it, right?
Yeah, like we
third
all
world country people in Nicaragua fucking walking hills every day.
Exactly. Everybody's always walking out there. We have the the privilege and the luxury to actually, work from home like us.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
the luxury to even work at an office, even if you don't work at home.
Right.
A lot of times, and not everybody, because there are some people that do work outside, but a lot of times we do work and just sit our butt down and we don't really do much. And then when we get home, we don't do much. You know what I'm saying?
Lack of activity.
Lack of activity, exactly. That's why a lot of people, you'll hear people say like, oh, when I was young, I used to be fit. I used to do this and that. I had a fast metabolism. And it's like, fun fact, by the way, your metabolism doesn't really slow that much down when you're older.
Really?
It does, but it's so very slightly that you might as well not even worry about it. Like 60-year-old me is going to be burning the same amount of calories as 21-year-old me as long as I'm doing the same activities as a 21-year-old.
Okay. Except for like upside down push-ups and shit or whatever
I mean,
but,
if you've been training for that long, you probably still be able to do that.
interesting. But so I want to lead to something real quick.
Go ahead.
Because I want to kind of address, I feel like you and me have been talking to each other, which is cool, but I want to address our audience real quick.
Okay.
If you are a guy and you're finding difficult to start going to the gym, one thing that I came to find was before I started going to the gym, I used to look at gym guys like jocks, like dumb jocks.
Yeah.
Like, right? And I was like, people are like, oh, yeah, the gym builds confidence. The gym builds confidence. And I was like, I'm already confident. I don't need to go to the gym, right? That was my mindset.
Yeah.
Because I really was. I was confident, and I didn't go to the gym. But as we talked, growing up for me, my confidence had a lot to do with the women I was with.
Yeah.
My confidence had a lot to do with is he having sex with a lot of women? Is he pulling bad bitches? Is he like doing like what in my mind, right? Yeah. Until I discovered the gym. Because the gym is the only place where there is no lying. You can lie to a female and tell her a whole bunch of shit and get her in her pants. You cannot lie to a dumbbell and be like, yeah, I can pick up 70. You can, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
if I look at
humbling.
you and I'm like, I curl 70 and you're like, show me. There's no way to lie. I don't have anchor arms. Like, like in SpongeBob and shit. So, you can't lie in the gym. That's one, which I liked because that means that in life, there's a lot of men that lie. There's a lot of people that get away because they cheat.
And social media helps us with that too.
And social media help. Exactly. Social media has kind of like diluted what is real.
Yeah.
Right. So coming to my point, when I started working out, that confidence that people talk about is an internal confidence of yourself. Of that, what you mentioned is like sometimes we get so accustomed to losing and accustomed to disappointing ourselves that we forget that there's a whole nother side of us that is capable of fucking anything. And the first time I felt that was the first time I hit 2 plates, and that I hit 3 plates on 2 plates on 225 on bench, and that I hit 315 on squats. When I did that, you remember that day we were working and I literally folded. I got up and I fell because my body couldn't even, like my legs couldn't even fucking hold my weight anymore. That day, as much pain as I was in, I remember I'm like thinking to myself, I could squat a fat motherfucker. Like I could squat 2 fat bitches, 2 girls, 150, 150 on top of each other, and I could squat them both. Like in my mind, I'm thinking, what's 300 pounds? Like I'm looking everywhere. Like what's 300 pounds? What's 300 pounds? Right? So I felt very accomplished because I did it. Yeah. Even if it was just 2 reps, I did it. I tapped it. Right? I haven't been able to tap it since. Not gonna lie, and that's something that I need to work on myself. But to encourage people that are watching, ladies, don't be scared of working with weights, because there's this whole new fucking trend of middle-aged women. Have you seen that yet? Have you seen that yet?
Yes.
Where it's like middle-aged women will do anything but lift weights. Yeah. Yes. So it's like, yo, lift weights. Like it's not just for men. You're the one that put me on. Like a lot of women don't realize, like working on your triceps, you lose that fucking that little arm fat. That little turkey neck fat. Like you got to start doing your research on how to improve yourself. Because I feel like you found your cheat code. You are able to eat McDonald's and you're able to fucking eat whatever you want, but like just have a calorie deficit, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to touch into that a little bit more too for the audience as well about the calorie deficit, because I also don't want to lead to a lot of people into the wrong path, thinking like, oh, I can eat McDonald's, and because the human body doesn't look things like how we do. Like when we eat like McDonald's, we're thinking, oh, I'm eating McDonald's, I'm eating shitty food, or I'm eating a salad, I'm eating good food. But the body doesn't view it like that. The body views it as I'm eating this amount of carbs, this amount of protein, this amount of fats, I'm getting this amount of vitamins and minerals. That's how it looks at it. It doesn't look at it as, oh, it's McDonald's, I'm gonna get fat. Like, no, it doesn't look at it like that. McDonald's can be part of your diet on the weekends, maybe once a month, occasionally. I have a rule where you say 80% is healthy and 20% is for like unhealthy stuff.
Okay.
Because
80-20 rule. Different 80-20 rule. I like it.
Because you got to have your minerals. Because you could lose weight in a calorie deficit eating just McDonald's. But the thing is, you're going to feel like shit. That's one thing. You're only going to be able to eat like once a day because the food is so highly caloric dense. You're going to feel hungry after it. Because it's so highly caloric dense, where it has a lot of calories, it doesn't have a lot of minerals and vitamins. That's why
That's why you feel bloated when you eat McDonald's and stuff like that?
Yeah, and that's why you usually can typically feel hungry immediately after that, because the ghrelin hormone, which is a hormone in our body, that hormone regulates our hunger, basically. So although your body ate food, your body doesn't view it as it got its nutrients. So it's going to still ask for more food because it needs more nutrients, even though you probably already ate 2,000 calories. So that's how people end up overeating, because then they'll eat a cookie or they eat Subway. And so by the end of the day, you realize, and then you drink some soda, and then you had sauce, which those are things that people sneak up on people. Sure. Like,
now I want to lead to this because this is something that Franklin taught me that blew my fucking mind. And I want to close with this so we can try to wrap this up for this week's podcast, this episode. A lot of people are having issues losing weight. And you told me this because I was trying to lose weight a while back. I mean, I'm still trying to lose weight, but I was like really looking into it like how you were. And you told me stop doing cardio before your exercise because the body eats your sugars first. Can you elaborate on that, on how you were telling me about losing weight properly?
The way our body uses energy is it has like a series of chains. I guess like machines. The body is literally a machine.
Okay.
So the first thing that the body loves to use as energy is sugar, is glucose. It's like the easiest thing for the body to digest and turn into energy. Glucose, sugars. That means like carbs.
The first thing that it goes for is sugars.
Sugars, carbs.
Okay.
That's why we love sugars. And back then, sugar was also important because it was. You got to keep in mind, back then we have the luxury of we could buy food with DoorDash and our phone so quick. But back then we didn't have that luxury. Sugar was very not common. You know what I'm saying? It was very rare. And so typically sugars was the most favorite way because they could digest it quick. And we have more complex carbs, but all carbs fall into this. That means fruits, rice, pasta, pizza, stuff like that, right? The body uses that first for energy. Then the second machine, once that machine runs out, there's no more food, then the body starts to use the second machine. It's like the second person in row. And that machine is the body gets the energy from your glycogen. And glycogen is basically stored sugar. It's stored into our muscles and into our liver.
Oh shit! So it goes for our muscles next.
Yeah,
basically.
That's and I'll get into that into a point of why it's important to have sugars in your muscles when you work out. But yeah, that's the second chain, and that typically lasts for like about 20 minutes while you're like working out, and you're using that stored glycogen. You'll see bodybuilders the day before their show, they eat a lot of sugars because you'll see their muscles inflate. It's because muscles are literally made out of water and sugar. So your muscles literally, it's like they're balloons. They can inflate and deflate.
Interesting.
That's how you have pumps and stuff like that. So then after the body runs out of this glycogen, your body then has the choice to either use muscle or fat for energy. And it's easier for the body to use muscle. It takes a minute to process it because they had to break down the amino acids of the proteins and then transfer it to energy. But it can take about like 5 to 4 minutes. When it comes to fats, it can take a couple hours. It can take a little bit longer. It's like a machine. The body hates using fats. And the best way to understand why is you got to look at it in a biological sense. Back then, humans wouldn't eat every day.
When you say back then, you mean like when we were out there fucking sticks and stones?
Yeah,
and,
like
cavemen. Okay,
cavemen.
okay.
Like back then, a caveman wouldn't eat every day. They'll eat once a day. And so when they wouldn't eat for 2 days or 3 days, that's when the body would use the fat. Like the fat is very, very necessary in the animal kingdom because we're not sure when we're gonna eat again. It's all about survival in the end of the day.
Right.
The
Yeah,
body
yeah,
is
yeah.
always surviving.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's why we store fat. The body thinks that one day we're gonna
Need
run
it.
out.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna
need
need
it.
it. So it
Yeah.
just keeps storing and storing and storing, but it doesn't know the effects of it. The body's just doing what its job. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So typically, because the body prefers to use muscle, it can be tricky when losing weight because a lot of people are trying to lose weight, but what you're really trying to say is you're trying to lose fat. Because if you're trying to lose weight, you could go from 160 to 150, but you'll still look kind of unhealthy and pudgy because you only lost muscle and water and you didn't really lose any fat.
Damn. So you can lose weight without losing fat?
Yep. You could lose up to 5 to 10
Holy
pounds
shit.
of just water, and then you could just lose a little bit of muscle. And then
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm gonna sound like maybe like what everybody else is thinking. Biology's a bitch, bro. Like that's fucked. I mean, like I kind of understand where you're coming from, and everything does make sense. Like if I had to basically say what you had to say in like a Patrick Star kind of way, it'd be sugar comes first. If you're trying to lose fat, sugar comes first, then sugar with muscle or kind of like part of your muscle, and then what's last?
the muscle or fat.
Muscle or stored fat.
Or stored fat, yeah. And you might be thinking too, like, well, if that's the case, how come cavemen were like, pretty jacked and pretty strong? It's because cavemen, muscle, the point of muscle in biology is to help us move and do things.
Okay.
So cavemen, the reason why they were buff and jacked and stuff like that is because they needed that muscle. It was functional. It was for hunting and stuff. So when you do activities that
Require that muscle to move. Or
yeah,
to
where
act.
you add stimulus, when you add stimulus to the muscle, whether if it's not working out or in this case, since we're talking about cavemen, hunting an elephant, you're using a lot of muscles, and so you're stimulating to your brain like, hey, we need this muscle. You're gonna have to use the fat, and your body has no choice but to use the fat, and that's why a lot of times you'll see.
That's why you said intermediate fasting kind of came into play, I assume, because
Correct.
it starts kind of eating your fat.
It can't take you eating your fat, but then that can reject it because then I eat too much. The intermittent fasting could work if you're counting your calories, because it could be a tool where you have more calories towards the end of the day, and then you just
And that's actually what you were gonna say earlier was how you can use it as a tool.
yeah, you could use it as a tool, as in like you skip breakfast, for example. You don't eat breakfast, so instead of, let's say you have 2,000 calories for the day, or let's say 1,500 since you're at a deficit, right? If you're to split that into 3 meals, that's only 500 calories, 3 meals. Or what you could do is you skip breakfast, you only eat lunch and dinner, and you have a bigger lunch and dinner. So now you have 750 calories for each lunch and dinner instead of just only 500.
Interesting. Okay.
And
That sounds like a shitty fucking breakfast.
yeah,
I mean, I could skip breakfast. I'm not gonna lie. When you kind of started telling me what 1,000 calories is, we're around that time where we do gotta finish. But give them an example. If you don't know what 2,000 calories look like, tell me what 2,000 calories can go by. Let's say you skip breakfast. Give me lunch and dinner. What does 2,000 calories look like?
healthy or unhealthy?
First, do healthy.
Okay. So 2,000 calories. The way how I would do is I'll split into 4 meals, right?
4 meals.
Right. Yeah. Even if I'll skip breakfast, I'll just eat breakfast later.
Okay.
That's 4 meals. That means 500 calories each meal. I'll do like, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack, like an average person eats, right? But with the way how I do it for 500 calories is you want to, if it's healthy foods typically have lower calories and have more volume. Like how we just talked about the rock and feather, it'll be for the same amount of calories, but a lot more food.
Okay.
So for breakfast, I might have, instead of eating eggs, I'll eat egg whites. Eggs are pretty healthy, by the way, but they can have a, decent amount of calories. They have like 70, but if you're eating like 5 eggs, that can catch up to you. That's
350
That's
calories.
350. That's a
I
very.
can't believe you had to use a calculator
Yeah,
for
that's-
that.
that's
You're
more-
so smart at other things. So this motherfucker had a 7 times. All right, go ahead.
But that's already more than half of your calories, right? Or what I could do is I eat egg whites, and then I can eat like 5 egg whites, and egg whites each is 25 calories.
Oh shit.
So 25 times
That's
5.
That's like way less than half.
Exactly. And then I can have turkey bacon. Turkey bacon has half the calories of bacon. I can have low calorie breads. Like there's some
So
specific-
right now, so far, we're like how many eggs? Let's say we got like right
5
now we
eggs.
got
5 egg
eggs.
whites. Uh-huh.
That's 25 times 5. That's 125.
Mm-hmm.
125 plus your bacon
Okay, let's say I had 2 pieces of bacon. Turkey bacon each is about like 60 calories
per
per slice. So that, let's say I have two, that's 120. So that brings to 245 calories. Let's say low calorie bread. I buy this low calorie bread from Aldi. It's like 40 calories each. I have two breads. That's 80 calories. So right now we're at 325. You see, right now I have like two bread, 5 eggs, and two bacon.
That's
and I'm
a
only
lot.
a lot of food, but I'm only 325 calories.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But even though egg whites taste like shit,
They
'cause
really
egg
don't.
whites taste like shit. That he says they don't. I mean, well, you know what? Make me some eggs the other next time I go over, and we'll test it out because egg whites taste like ass.
I mean, if you're a picky individual like Edwin, one thing I would say is because trust me, my girl is the same way. She hates egg whites, but the way I convince her is you mix one regular egg, and instead of doing 5 egg whites, you could do four egg whites and 1 egg. So you still have some yellow in it, and then it tastes like egg. Trust me.
It balances out. Okay, I can see that. I can see that. Okay. All right, we have breakfast. Let's go. We're already 500. Go. What's your next?
Next is like some chicken breasts. Chicken breasts, if I have like half a pound, is about 240 calories.
Half a pound.
Half a pound of chicken.
Wow.
Of
Okay,
chicken
that's
breast.
not bad. That's
Yeah.
not bad.
And then I have half a pound of chicken. Let's say I do potatoes instead of rice, because potatoes have more volume. So 200 grams of potato, which is about like, I guess like 1/4 of a pound.
A little bit of a cup.
Yeah.
A quarter
quarter of a pound. Yeah, a quarter of a pound, and that's about 150 calories. So I'm not even at 500. Like all these meals I've been giving you have been 300 and something basically, and I'm getting like good amount of food. It's potatoes and chicken, and and you still have like extra calories.
But you're eating 4 times a day.
Correct.
Is that also part? So I know you mentioned earlier that the metabolism doesn't really change too much, but are you eating 4 times a day so that your metabolism speeds up, or are you doing that so that you don't get too hungry? So it's kind of like your body's continuously eating.
Yeah, I do it to not get too hungry, because being in a calorie deficit, since I described what a calorie deficit is, that's the best in simple terms is you're starving. You know what I'm saying? So, the way how I look at it is what's the best way I can make myself
What's the
starve?
best way to starve?
Yeah, what's the best way to starve? And it's just you trick yourself that you're full. You know what I'm saying? You eat a lot of food.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see what you're saying. So you're tricking your body to thinking, hey, you're actually eating more, but you're eating less.
But I'm eating less calories.
Okay, because you're eating. Because I eat twice a day. That's the thing. Like I eat water, coffee, fruit, maybe sometimes right before lunch, and then lunch.
Yeah.
Usually a sandwich. I'll usually, because I work from home, so I'll make a sandwich. Dinner is like today, like I got Wingstop, like my fat ass compared to you over here. But my last question to you, to break that mentality: can you be healthy on a budget?
Yeah. So you could definitely be healthy on a budget. I myself, guys, I'm on a budget. I have a son. He's 2 years old. I have my girl, and I support both of them. So I'm definitely like
In a budget.
In a budget.
Yeah.
And you could definitely do it. I recommend going to the most cheapest stores, which I would say either Costco if you have a Costco membership, Walmart, or Aldi's. Especially, I personally go to Aldi's just because a lot of things there are pretty cheap and
Save money.
And I save a lot of money, actually. It ends up working out for me. Majority of my money goes into the meat. I'm not going to lie. But it's kind of worth it because the meat's the most expensive. But everything else that I get in Aldi's is not that expensive. Like a can of beans are like 90 cents. Like, you know what I'm saying? It makes up for the amount of meat that I have to buy. So I kind of spend the average.
How much would you say you spend every 2 weeks, every paycheck?
Every 2 weeks, I would say I probably spend about like 250 calories, maybe 300.
This man said calories. Wild.
250.
This man's counting so much calories, he gets paid in calories. You heard it here first.
$250 a week, maybe 300, pushing it. Like if I'm eating,
right.
if I'm buying more snacks,
Right.
stuff like that. But yeah,
That's not bad. That's not terrible.
nah,
That's
the
not
baby,
terrible.
The baby eats actually our food as well, so
So
he's
that's still
included.
not bad. That's
Yeah.
actually not bad at all, because that's around the time that what I spend, but I don't have the same quality meals that you have.
Make little steps. So like, let's say for example for yourself, Edwin. Let's say you said you eat a sandwich.
Okay.
You can still eat a sandwich. Just replace a healthier bread. Bread has a lot of calories in it.
Yeah,
Get
a lot of carbs.
Lower calorie bread. That's gonna save you a ton of it. Mayo is gonna be sauces are gonna be your killers. That's one
Everybody knows
thing.
I love my mayo, dog.
Yeah, I mean if you love mayo, I would say get light mayo.
Light mayo, I can settle for that.
You like mayo, and then I know you're starting like mustard that has 0 calories by the way. So
Mustard has no calories.
yeah, it's just sodium and like vinegar.
Oh, okay. Well, sodium doesn't have calories?
Yeah, seasoning doesn't really have calories, guys. Yeah, it doesn't have anything at all.
No
Except
shit.
like garlic powder and onion powder, maybe. But that's like if you put a lot, maybe like one
What the
calorie. But
fuck?
that's what's the point of tracking 1 calorie?
That's crazy. I'm learning. I'm learning something today, y'all. Hopefully, you guys took away something too. I appreciate you. Get cheers to an episode, man. Thank you for coming.
Definitely, man. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Hopefully, you guys took something away from this. At the end of the day, it's all about being healthy, and you can kind of like slowly lose weight and still be healthy. Like you just healthy is almost a mindset. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's action that has to come with it, but I feel like you're gonna want to stop being sick and tired. Like be sick and tired of being sick and tired, and then you start becoming healthy by having a healthier mindset. So for all of you listening, I mean, hopefully you took something away from the calorie deficit and you're just trying to take care of your body and your health. Ironically, we have this liquor bottle over here, but forget that. Focus on the positives. Focus on the fact that we have the opportunity to develop ourselves into being great individuals, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And physically has a lot to do with counting your calories, which honestly, I'm going to count my calories, not to lose weight, but to see how much I eat.
That's an interesting way to do it.
And then
Mm-hmm.
I can be like, okay, like how am I overeating? Because I like to budget. I love numbers, bro.
Yeah.
I'm a numbers guy. I love to look at my numbers. I look at my budget like it doesn't even change. My budget doesn't change, but I like looking at the money. I like looking at my bank statements. I like looking at my retirement accounts. Like I like looking at numbers.
Yeah.
And what I want to do is I'm gonna count my calories because I know that I'm not gonna be like you, fucking like lose that much weight so quick. Like I'm proud of you, man. Good for you.
Thank you.
I will get there. I know myself, and I want to count my calories to see how much I eat.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna be like, okay, what can I take away? Because it's kind of like, let me look at my budget. Even if your budget looks like shit, even if you spend every single dollar that you make, you first got to do a budget.
Yeah.
So right now, I want to see how much calories I'm spending, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's what I encourage you to do today or moving forward. Count your calories, not to lose weight, but to start looking at how much you're actually eating, how much you're actually intaking every day. And then start diminishing, like, okay, maybe I can replace this for this. Like if you were to do your budget, okay, maybe I can stop going to Starbucks every day. That's going to save me $100 and something. Oh, I can cancel Hulu. My cousin got Hulu. I could borrow her Hulu. Or the kids don't even watch this channel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So kind of like that. Like, oh, I don't even need ice cream every day.
Yeah.
Things like that. So I'm glad that you came. Thank you for being here, man. And this is WKH. You guys, till the next episode, have a good one.
Have a good one, guys.